We're up and running.
Hello.
I go to the same optician as Grom. Look at these. You like that?
Dude, those I gotta say, Groms are a little more Groms are a little more business and yours are a little more party, but together they are the mullet of eyewear, as I
Oh, no,
just dubbed them.
the,
Groms are a little
oops,
more
hang on. Let me turn my
business and
sound
yours
down.
are a
Hold
little
on,
more
hold on, hold on,
party,
hold on.
but together
Hold up, baby.
mute,
Oh,
mute that one maybe.
technical difficulty. Hold up.
Hey, we're not Elon Musk's here.
I need to make. I've got to get it so I can actually sit. Dude, these glasses, man. I just got these things. They're probably the most comfortable pair. They look like they're heavy as fuck, right? I mean, they are. They got a bit of weight, right? Really? What makes you say that? But no,
Dude,
dude, they're comfortable as hell.
yeah. And they're not the average choice of like style. So I mean, I don't want to take complete responsibility for you having a little flavor lately, but I got to be like 1% of it, 1%, 2% of it, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Right,
But
dude. Dude,
those are styling. How did you come about those specs? Because those
mate,
aren't the regular old over the counter glasses there, eh, matey?
no, dude. These. I tell you, I used to be the guy that used to go in the optician, and they're like, you're ready to pick your glasses out, and you got to walk in. You got to walk with your head down up to the back of the down the corridor, which is away from the main store, and they're on a special rack or something, and you're like, oh, I'll have them ones. And I always used to get these fucking Joe 90 black just regular glasses. And I started to look like fucking that guy, ready for my platinum slippers. You know what I mean? And I and I would, but I was starting to freaking grow. I started to get into this journey, and I'm like, you know what? I need fucking like something louder, like different, right? Leaving the old person behind, and let's like fucking concentrate on where I'm going, right? So the first pair I got were a pair of these are Ray-Ban too, but the first pair I got were
Oh,
a pair of
really? That
yeah,
makes them even cooler, dude.
yeah, these are Ray-Ban.
That's sick.
Yeah, man, right?
Oh, oh. All right.
So I think I'm like I'm pulling my first guy, right? Chill, you're like I'm just doing something
Dude,
to you, right?
dude, well, no, and like you know, I think it's cool and I agree with you. Yeah, it's sort of like change it up a little bit. But they got a good look, dude, cuz it's like now that I know that they're Ray-Bans, it makes a little more sense that they're not some weird off-brand, but it's the perfect mix of like you could still take you serious, whether they're Ray-Bans or not. You could, if
Right.
you show up to anything in those, you're like, all right, the dude's got a little style, and then he's trying to also be like, kind of like a little bit of a chill adventure-esque, just stand out of the crowd a
Yeah,
little
there
bit. You
you
know what I'm
go.
saying? But
I need one of these. I need a.
you know, what do you tell the person who cuts your hair? Just leave a little on top.
That'd be me.
Yeah. No, dude. But yeah, the beard. I think you could pull off a beard. I would be hard pressed to pull off glasses. I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, you
At
could.
least yet. Maybe once I get a little bit older, maybe I'll get a little more refined.
Yeah, you
Like
could,
a
man. You could.
wine
Yeah,
or
you could
cheese.
dig the glass. You could dig the glass. I've seen you with a pair of glasses on, and don't you wear
No,
for
I
reading or something? I swear I've seen you with glasses on.
no, no. I have some sunglasses, but I don't even really wear those very often. I don't
No.
know why. Yeah, I don't know why.
I'll
I
tell you,
wear.
dude. The crazy thing is, excuse me, I'm like messing around with my coffee here. I've got like,
Hey, no apologies. Hey, while he's doing that, this basically, well, number one, it was Grom's idea. Number two, uh, this basically was sort of like a celebration for old Cockney Scoocher right over here. I don't know where I'm
thank you.
oriented to him, but I just 100+ subscribers. Of course, I was gonna look before we did this, but one thing led to another, and I forgot to look. So
I think I'm
I'm
at one I
guessing
like,
108, but that's up 10, 11 from yesterday afternoon. That's crazy.
matey. I think she's on here. Yeah, Tori's on. Tori's on here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray-Ban Fancy Man. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like stepping up a little bit. It's better than the freaking little pieces of shit that I was wearing.
They
Oh,
work though.
everyday surfers on. Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
see him leave some comments on your shorts from time to
yeah,
time. Or videos
and
too.
what's that? Sorry.
Your videos as well. Just anything you post, I see him
Yeah,
comment.
yeah. He started following me not so long ago, and then I went on his channel. He's got a really good surfing channel, by the way. If you go on his
Where is he
channel,
from? Where is
it's
he from?
it's it's really nice. Are you over? Are you over on the west coast? West. I think he's on the. I think he's at Huntington Beach. That's west coast,
Oh,
right?
shit. Yeah. I'm gonna go check that out for sure.
Yeah, and he's channels. It's pretty banging, dude. If you
Yeah,
surf, man, it's
yeah.
like
And I
it's
think I
straight
must have
up.
just seen him come. I must have just not that he's only been commenting for the last couple days, but maybe the last 3 or 4 days is when I first noticed it. But dude, I was just watching these videos. It was this weird webcam that popped up in my YouTube feed, and it was of Jacksonville Beach or Jacksonville Pier. He says he's from Huntington Beach,
Hmm.
so that's a pretty legitimate surf
That's west coast, right?
destination. Yeah, yeah. Um, but I saw this camera of Jacksonville Pier or beach or something, and it was a beautiful morning. The sun was coming up, but the waves were tiny, and there were like 20 guys in the water. It was insane, and it was
Right.
all one little spot. So like, I'm sure he's got to deal with just such a different atmosphere surfing than I do.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
with the amount of people.
even seeing the like, because I've only been watching these videos a little while. I don't know if you want to say your name, man. I know your name, so but I don't want to like bang it out. If you want to say your name out there, then say I know the guy's name, but that's I know how people can.
Yeah, I
but
get it. It's all good. It's all good.
even watching these videos, like the waves look different than what they are here.
Oh,
Even you know.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, you guys get ocean waves. That's why it's crazy because I look at these small waves on different parts of our in America, and I could only imagine. Me and Grom were actually just talking about this. It's got to be so much different surfing out there. But yeah, it's like, oh yeah, his name's Adam. What's up, Adam?
There you go, Adam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could only imagine because I mean, even in California on a regular day, like 3 or 4 feet, that's almost as tall as I am. So like, it's a 4 foot wave is a 4 foot wave on the ocean most places, but a 4 foot wave on Lake Michigan compared to a
Yeah.
4 foot wave in the ocean is a completely different ball game. So yeah, I'm gonna check out his channel, and it's
It's
crazy
good.
because yeah, that's cool. It's crazy just how many different. I saw another little YouTube thing where these guys were surfing in Portugal, and it was this weird wave that like wedged off a pier, and then they rode it for maybe 20 seconds, and then it kind of like
Oh, I
like hit this
see
little,
that.
yeah,
Where it
it like hit
hit
an
and kind of
elbow.
rolled.
Yeah, and I've never seen anything like it. We have this pier wedge in Michigan, probably just 10 minutes down the road, but it doesn't take a hard right and
Right.
turn.
I've seen that, dude, where it like they're
Yeah.
waiting for it to come in and hit that freaking like the wall base, like really, right?
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah, it's like an
then it
elbow,
starts
like a
rolling.
little elbow thing. So it's like going down and then it hits this thing and but yeah, it's
Madness, dude. Yeah, I think I've seen that. It's crazy. You've got to be a bit freaking death defying to go because I mean, I'd imagine you can get a bit creamed if you're like bail,
yeah,
right?
but I mean, dude, like surfing, once you learn how the water moves, it's really safe. It's not it's and especially in the ocean when the sets are a little more organized and they break in the same spot, unless you do something dumb out there, yeah, wedge. Unless you do something dumb, you can pretty much guarantee like the waves are gonna break here, and then the set waves are gonna break, a significant distance behind that. But yeah, I mean, it's so weird being a surfer and knowing what it feels like to ride a wave because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
it
But
doesn't
it, but
matter.
the bit that's I feel it's weird because I don't know anything about surf. I've learned a lot through watching you guys and
Yeah.
learning and watching how you guys talk and shit like that. I like clue in and try and figure bits and pieces out, and I've asked questions as well. But I myself getting to know all you guys are pretty much all surfers that have surfed.
Mhm.
I'm that kind of transition bit between the mind and nature, Mother Nature, and what you guys go through mind wise. So it really, that's where the fascinating bit comes in for me, right? Because one, I've always wanted to surf, but I'm one of these nut jobs that'd be like, oh, let me read fucking, book for dummies and go out and fucking hit a 60-footer, right? And then you got me on the news where I ain't coming
Hey,
back up,
as long
right?
as long as long as you can come out the other side, it doesn't matter what you do, you
Mate,
know.
I'm not even riding it. I'm not even getting the paddle over there, man. If you try and pull me in, fuck that, man. I'm off.
Man, I maybe next September. You never know.
I know, right? Yeah, man. Yeah, it's yeah, Adam. Oh, does Tori know Adam?
I don't know.
Oh, getting back to Tori, I wanted to thank her because I tell you, man,
Yeah, we got
she
sidetracked on that one.
Tori banged me out there with that one where I'm saying, hey, I've only got 3 more to go. Freaking bang subscribers my way.
Yeah.
And she said she put it out there, and she said a bunch of people said that they had followed, and I'm like, I say thank you because yeah, she called it, and freaking numbers started going up, dude. It was like weird, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of her job, like social media management. Sorry, trying to
No, you're good, man.
make the ambiance a little better. If you fall down, I am very sorry. I think we're gonna be good.
No, you're
But
all
yeah,
right.
that's her thing. And man, I just sort of came across this whole video making thing like you did just a little while before you. And when things work, I do them, and when they stop working, I stop doing them. Like it's it's kind of like, for me, it's almost like math, you know? Like you can
Yeah,
count on math. Like when this and this go together, it's going to be this. And I feel like YouTube, and a lot of people get sort of get down and get upset and get confused and frustrated on the algorithm and all this other stuff, but I feel like honestly, it's a game of numbers and consistency and trying to get better. And I say better
yeah,
like not necessarily in like the better than other people, but just like improving on whatever it
yeah.
is that you're trying to do. And maybe it's not even like making the videos better, but it's just improving on whatever your niche is or whatever.
Right, right,
And
right.
yeah, it's weird how this thing works, but I've said it a million times, dude, and I'll say it again one right now. Like your channel and Grom's channel with like the positivity and like the mental health aspect of it, it's not only needed, like you guys, there isn't a lot of it out there. Like everybody wants to be like, I'm happy because of the blah blah
Right,
blah or
right,
whatever, and they ain't living it. And I mean, I know you guys personally, and it's easier to say that when knowing you guys, but
right, right, right.
man, you guys are about it, and it's just one person you need. Just like you were talking about that guy. What was his name? You were
Who?
talking about a guy yesterday, that you shared him on Twitter or something, and he responded to you.
Oh, Rich Roll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
guys like
Rich
that that
Roll.
are
Yeah,
gonna see what you're doing and just like, cause it's you're obviously genuine. Like that's the thing that will get across. Not only are you doing something good, but like you can tell that you're not full of shit. And that's
appreciate
what
that.
it's
I really do.
about, dude. Yeah, and it's not even like, I mean, I think everybody would agree with obviously everybody would agree with me, but it's just gonna take you guys, that one person. And I
Right,
know like you got to get to 5 or 6 thousand subscribers to make any sort of money, but I know that's not even why you guys are really doing it. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
It'll
right.
help, but that's the cool thing about this. And going back to why you started this, like Tori has this, she just has a way with doing shit on with the social media business, and plus she knows a ton of people or whatever, but
She
she's a
she came
special
she
guy.
came she you mentioning her name. She came up. Cam needs to do a lake versus sea vlog one day.
Yeah, I got to get to the sea.
Well, fucking Florida, dude, I'm 40 minutes away.
I know, but I thought it would be great if the first time I surfed was in Cornhole, in England.
Cornhole?
Yeah, Cornhole on the sea, you know?
No, who's Cornhole?
Cornwall.
Who's Cornhole? Who's
Corn-
Cornhole?
Cornwall.
Oh, Cornwall.
I call it Cornhole.
Cornwall. Holy
Cornhole.
shit,
Cornhole.
man.
Cornhole.
Cornhole. I thought you were talking
Cornhole.
Beavis and Butthead, and I'm thinking, what? I don't remember him doing anything about surfing or anything. I'm like, I'm a fan of Beavis and Butthead. I'm like rolling through. I'm like, Cornhole.
Oh no, dude.
Shit. Anyway, so did you surf today? Did you surf or not?
No,
No?
no. I didn't surf yesterday, and I didn't surf today. I just have enough good videos, and one of my GoPros isn't working right because it got a lot of water in it, and it's an old ass GoPro. And yeah, I'm just tired. I wanted to kind of chill. There was waves, but you know,
Hey, man. Shit, it's good to do that, though. You know?
yeah, yeah.
Grom's in. Uncle Billy's in.
Oh man, maybe I should turn on this chat.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for turning up. Prime time in England, mate. This is prime time, 8 o'clock. Shit, man.
Yeah,
We're
me and
like
you are.
prime time TV right now.
Yeah, they got to choose between us and Mr. Bean.
Well, is there a competition in that? You've got Mr. Bean right here.
Yeah, basically.
Because I am really, oh, dude. I tell you what, thank God you guys know my freaking the way I am technically. Because sometimes I write shit right in a message,
Yeah.
and even I read it back and go, "Fuck, what did I write there?" Because I'm thinking as I'm writing,
Yeah.
But I've started to do it with clients too, and missing bits and shit like that. And I've had to be like, oh, my writing. I only do it to those people that I've had a bit because they know, because they work with me. And sometimes, dude, I had one client. I don't know if she may come on. I don't know, but it's fucking cool as shit. Really, really spiritual. She's actually agreed to do a live with me. So I'm gonna, because she's a fucking healer and a guru, yogi. Yeah, right. So,
Those are the ones that are really going to help your channel get to the people that really are into that kind of stuff. Like that'll be awesome to watch.
yeah, when I do this with this chick, because I've asked her if she'll do a podcast with me when I get my podcasting going as well. And she's like, yeah, great, right? Because she can push her side of stuff and all, because she's really, really into the spiritual side and yoga. And, she went to Egypt and went on a freaking thing there. And it was awesome, right? And she agreed to do it with me. And I can't remember what my freaking train of thought was now. I think I was talking about if they're on here, but I can't remember now.
Don't expect me to be the rememberer here.
Mate, listen,
Oh, fuck me,
listen.
Scooch.
One of us has got to have their head screwed on. And right now, I don't know if that's me.
Well, so what do you think? Like where? And I guess this will be kind of like what you did to Grom, but where do you think your channel should be right now with? And you're gonna have to kind of pump your own brakes here. You're gonna have to pump your own tires or something, because I think that you should be upwards of 1,000 subscribers. Like with what you know about all of this, like love that you're trying to send. Like, where do you
Right.
think your channel should be at? What do you think? What do you think? Like, what do you think you deserve? Because it's not 108.
You know what, man? Because I've had this conversation with Grom, and I think I've had it with
Yeah.
you and a bunch of other people too, like this. I don't understand when I look at the things that even my 20-year-old, nearly 21-year-old is watching, right, on YouTube, and I look at what they're watching, and I'm like, okay, let me look at the views, and I look at the views, and it's like freaking off the, it's like ridiculous. It's like ridiculous, right? And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking a lot of it's negative, right? It's really they're following some kind of social, I don't
Well,
know what.
it's not even real negativity. It's like it's positive. It's negativity that's like masked as something positive. It's fucking weird, dude.
There's no teaching in it. You know what I mean?
No,
There's not like a. I mean,
it's glorified bad habits at best. You know what I'm
it
saying?
is. Dude,
It's
they
like,
watch this. They watch this fucking program. I was actually talking to a client about this the other day. That they watch this program. I don't know what it's called. Someone might know. um, but it was a house which I think is in Miami, right? And it's off the freaking charts, right?
is it like a content creator house with a bunch of different people who have sort of like YouTube channels and they're all filming each other?
No, it's a bunch of guys and girls that are looking to see how they're going to date each other and shit. So that right, and I use this with my guys, and it's something to think about, right? Because I have guys that come to me with body dysmorphia, right? And
I think I have that, dude. I seriously do.
you know,
I can't work out enough. And like it's not bad, but man, what a weird thing you brought that up. Anyways, keep going.
body dysmorphia. It's a shame because you look at a label, right? You're looking at a label. I mean, when you look in the mirror, yeah, it's you, but it's just a label of what you're seeing. You're just seeing a reflection of atoms, is what you're seeing, right? It doesn't, the way you look here doesn't reflect what your energy is giving anybody else, unless you pull yourself down into that spirally, like getting clued in, thinking you're not something. You're much better thinking that you are beautiful on the inside and pushing that than trying to, because it's like wearing a mask, right? So, I was watching this freaking show, and the freaking girls are like, straight out like Baywatch or whatever you freaking want to say, right? And then you got the dudes that are like, they're gym rat guys, and freaking, they're really good looking, they've got it going on, and they're living in this freaking stupid, I don't know, $10 million freaking house, right? And I stood there and watched it, because since I've been in this work, I have a problem now where instead of pulling food apart in a restaurant when I was chefing, now I start listening to people and be like, right. So I was walking past the TV, and I stopped and I watched it for about 3 or 4 minutes. And it was the prime example of people just covering up their freaking emotions.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It
Yeah,
literally was people throwing on masks, because sometimes they would think that they've got some kind of positive match going on between like a couple, and then someone else would walk in and say like, and they, none of these fucking know each other. Come on, let's face it. They've been picked
right,
up, thrown in a fucking. Come on, man, right? So, and then all of a sudden, whoever it is gets like, gets bent out of shape, and they can't understand it, and it's like insecurity,
right,
because they're not in touch with this, who they really are. And when you can get in touch with who you actually really are, where this comes from, then you can start not like moving away from that, because this is what counts, not this. This is just an outline, right? It's just atoms. It's all you are. Consciousness is completely different. So, but I
man.
don't know
But
if there's
that's
any.
what's that?
What we do? Hang on, laugh out loud. Me and Chill were only talking about body dysmorphia today.
It's weird. It's weird how that would come up in any conversation. First of all, and then twice in a day. And I think Tori and I were talking about it like a week ago. But it's
Yeah,
weird because and like I'm like I've been working out almost every single day or surfing the days that I don't work out. every single day since the lake thawed, essentially. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
like it's just like every day I go in there and I can see myself like getting more muscular, but it doesn't matter. Like it's like, God damn it, like you know what I want to do? I want to fucking sit around and eat fucking ice cream out of the container and not
yeah.
go to the gym. That's what
Tell
I
me
want
about
to
it.
do.
Yeah, man. Dude, I've got the body shape. I used to bodybuild when I was back in England, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that pretty much got me started on that because I was bullied from the age of 5 to like 16 years old. A lot of shit going on there, which adds to the anger. But
Oh, I bet.
and then I wanted to, I was only a small kid, so I wanted to get bigger. So I just started lifting weights a little bit. I got my first little kind of weight set with, it was funny because they looked way bigger than what they actually was, but they were plastic coated metal, and
Mhm.
they looked like fucking massive plates.
Oh,
So there I
yeah,
am
I
lifting, and I'm
remember
like,
those. Yeah.
yeah, right.
The
I,
5 pound weights were like big as a car tire somehow.
yeah, you're like, it's only about 10 pounds. You're like, yeah, man, right. Like banging it out there. It's all brain, isn't it? It's like, yeah, fucking like you're
Yeah, dude.
right. Um, But I got into bodybuilding, and I started getting really serious with it. And then when I was like 19, and I got my chefing job in the House of Commons in London, and they said, "Hey, do you play rugby?" And I'm like, "Well, I did when I was like fucking nice when I was like 15, right?" And they're like, "Great, you're in the team." And I'm like, "What?" Right? So, and then I started training for that, and I started really getting into the like some crazy hole in the wall gyms in London that it was like freaking competition meatheads that used to get in there. And
Yeah,
you want to talk about facing your fucking fears, dude? Because I wasn't them,
right,
right? And you're walking in there, and it was in a rough part of London, and you walk in there, and they look at you like, "Who are you?" Right?
right.
And I just started keep going, keep going, keep going. And then they started to see how serious I was. And it's kind of like what you were saying, you can tell that when someone's serious or not. Right. And
Right,
I
yeah.
and I, and I would put fucking 100% maximum effort in. I would keep turning up. And then in the end, this one guy, I was doing a tricep extension with a fucking dumbbell,
Mhm.
and the old ego was getting in the way probably a little bit. Yeah, and I'm cheating, and this fucking dude, as a monster, come up and he just grabbed my elbow, and he goes, "Try it now," and I couldn't. And he goes, "Lower your weight," and then it just started where they just started seeing me. They was helping me out,
Oh, yeah.
spotting dudes, all that. They started trusting me being around their area because it was it was like their house, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, they all knew each other, right? And then I pop like, "Hello." Hi everybody. I wasn't all this then, mate. I wasn't. I wasn't.
Like
Right.
Elton John walking in.
Yeah, right. I didn't have these glasses or nothing like that, mate. And I had long
Yeah,
hair,
boy.
dude. I was a metalhead. I had long, natural, freaking curly hair down to here, and dude, I was a big yeah.
Oh man, you
Yeah,
got to
go on,
send us
go,
some
come on,
pictures. You got to
bring it on
send
about
us.
the bald head. Come on.
You got to send us some pictures from the '70s, man.
No. Um, hang on, got a question up here. Where are we? Oh,
Oh, all I see is
question for
inches.
the
Oh
Buddha.
shit! I wonder who's
What
getting
do
made
you?
fun of.
Are you good, man?
Yeah, sorry. I was
You
talking.
sweet? You good?
Yeah, go ahead. My
I
bad.
thought you had a problem. You was like looking out your window. I thought someone was
I
freaking
was
banging
trying
on.
to read the chat. All I see is the word inches, but I haven't read anymore.
Oi, oi.
So no, you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. You
This
go
is a
ahead.
bro. uh, question for the Buddha. What do you think about the use of music when meditating? And what type of music would you listen to? Wow, good question. I actually do. I mean, it's actually a massive tool of mine. It's one of those things that I will turn to, um, because you're looking at vibration with music. And when you on my spiritual journey, that affects your energy. So different vibrations will affect you in different ways, and it's the reason why you can listen to a beautiful classical piece of music, which is what I would introduce someone to if they wanted to meditate to music. I'd start there first.
Mhm.
Um, Classical music or opera or something like that, where they're at their prime of it's crystal. These guys, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And when you shut your eyes and you listen. It's better if you can put like headphones on, or if you've got really good speakers, even better, right? Because then what I've done is I've freaking either laid on the floor with like speakers either side of me, so I'm getting like a surround kind of unit coming in, of sound, or sit in a position if you've got like really good, especially if you've got surround sound, even better. But you want to get yourself in a position where you can hear it from different ways, right? So if you're listening to classical music, you'll fucking hear it from all different areas because that's the way it's cut up.
Right.
That's the way and it's actually a way I got through an MRI once, which is because I even though the MRI was open on the side, because I can get a bit claustrophobic, right? If I know I can't get, I'm like, and it's like this, it's like shits me up, right? So I had when I did my back in about 5-6 years ago, they said you might want to go and get an MRI, even though the chiropractor he freaking nailed it. He gave me a couple of things to do, and he goes, I think it's L5, but I need to make sure, which it was, right? Um, And cool, as soon as I knew I was going to have to get an MRI, anxiety. Oh,
Dude,
shit.
my dad fell and he actually got knocked out like 3 weeks ago. Or no, probably 2 months ago now. But he just recently had an MRI. And just like me, he's got a massive head and it barely
Um,
fits in the machine. And he said the same shit. He was like, he hasn't had an MRI in probably, well, I don't know if he's ever had an MRI. And
right.
he was like he was counting to 60 and because they said it would take about 20 minutes, so he counted to 20 minutes by
Yeah,
60 and he got to 18 and he goes he was like, if I have to get to 19, I'm done. He was going to hit the little panic button.
yeah.
But man, this is such a weird thing. You're just bringing up these weird topics that it's unusual.
It's the
Anyways,
it's the it's
sorry I
it's
interrupted
the
you.
energy, dude. It's the energy.
Sorry I interrupted you. Keep going.
No, man, no, you're good, man. It's what this is all about. It ain't all about me. Fuck. um, so I come to my wife. Now my wife, thank God bless her, fucking a dude. Right. She's at these times, that's when she's solid. Right.
Right.
It's what I was saying to you when we was talking together, and I
Yeah.
was telling you the story how I got through, and immigration and my missus, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I come to her and I'm like, oh shit, arseholes giving way, fucking, because I mean I couldn't hardly walk. I The only way I could get freaking comfort was literally getting in a recliner and just easing back in like coming up, bringing my legs up. Because as soon as I was starting bringing my legs down, holy shit, it was ridiculous. I was rolling around on the floor, dude, through the night before. I honestly, I'm not kidding you. If someone would have came in with a freaking knife and said, "We'll take your leg off," I would have been like, "Bye bye."
Oh, so it was like your lower back sending pain down your leg and stuff?
Dude, it what
Yeah.
it did, because I saw the MRI, right? So what it did was it bulged out backwards, right? And thank God it didn't rupture. Thank
Right.
God, right? But it bulged out backwards, and it grabbed the freaking sciatic nerve and just went and just pushed, and that was enough. That
Mm.
was enough to make my leg go, "Don't belong to me no more." It's like friggin'
Yeah.
agony, dude. Agony. And So you know, when I knew I was going to have to get the friggin' MRI because my missus had to get me to the chiropractor because driving, forget about it. All I could think about was don't move your back. Right, you couldn't even think about driving. So she got me the chiropractor. Of course, when he says, "Oh yeah, I need you to get an MRI and all that," I'm like, "Oh no, of course, that was it." And that's when you need someone that's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Right, because even if it's like a friend or something, because it's someone you can turn to and go, "Uh-oh, I'm losing it," and they know what to do, right? And so I'm getting round to the music bit on this. So she kind of started ringing some places to see if there was an open MRI, because I'm like, I ain't going to no tube. Right, I was like adamant. And if you've got really bad anxiety and you get to that fear point of like, no, it's like being cornered in a fight, and the only way is to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you know that you've got to fucking, like, you're going to lose your mind. You know it, right? And it's kind of like that. You're like, your head just goes, I can't think no more. Right, because it's just like it's going like freaking mad. So she found one that was open on the side. That didn't make a damn bit of difference, dude. It didn't make no, didn't
They're
make no
loud
difference to
too,
me.
aren't they?
Uh
They're really loud too, aren't they?
yeah, that's where I'm getting it with the music.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
because as soon as he was a young fella, and I'm crawling, I'm literally holding onto the fucking counter. I'm like, and he's a young fella, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm really sorry." And I'm like, "No, it's all right, man, but I'm going to take a while to get down there because I walked down this fucking corridor,
The
like,
longest hallway in the hospital.
yeah." And it's, dude, it's all the while you move the wrong way. It's like someone coming up with a fucking cattle prod and going, because you just
Can
go,
only imagine. Yeah.
you know. Um, Anyway, I get up on this fucking, it's like getting up on a slab, like they're gonna fucking bleed me out, right? so I so I get up on this fucking bed thing, and I kind of do one of these, and I'm like, oh no, right? This starts going. So I thought, I've got to turn on the tools, got to use something, right? This is gonna happen, right? So I fucking closed my eyes while the guy, he was like, prepping me and getting fucking pillars under my knees and all that shit. And he's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So there was one point where I kind of glimpsed the fucking thing that was like here, right? And what I did is I thought, right, close your eyes, go somewhere else, right? Because just like I tell all my guys and I tell you guys, brain don't know. Right? It don't know, and it tell you what you tell it is going to believe, and you can take it anywhere you freaking want, right? So the only reason you get connected with things around you is because you've got your five senses are interacting with it. That's all, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you fucking close your eyes and shut all that out, you take your now the brain don't know. It's got nothing to interact with, right? So you can take your mind somewhere. So that's what I did. So I just fucking I closed my eyes, dude, and I went into breathing, slowing shit down because I hadn't been doing this that long. Really hadn't. I mean, I was getting into the work side of it, um, right as COVID kicked off. And I was in England thinking, oh no, what are we going to do now? But it actually turned out well because I didn't know nothing about Zoom. Right? I knew nothing about that. Whether you could do it on that, thank God you can.
Right.
But so I closed my eyes and I started hearing the noises, and it's weird because it is different. It sounded like there wasn't any kind of specific rhythm, right? You might hear one beep come on every now and again or something, right? Because I didn't even ask any questions. I just went into my head, and I started looking at instruments in front of me, right? And each one of these sounds was an instrument. So I put my mind into turning that into music. So what it actually did was it allowed me to calm myself down just by like I've said to Uncle Billy before. You don't listen to like a guitar and go, that's a guitar. Right? The brain knows. It knows it's a guitar. So as soon as you fucking say guitar and you tell it, I'm listening to a guitar, it cuts you won't even hear the thumb on the string unless you tune into it, right? Because you're telling the brain, I know what that is, and it's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I've heard that before, and it just computes it all up and goes, here's a guitar,
Yeah.
right? Unless when you become a really good musician, right? I don't hear it, but I know really good musicians will. I'm kind of I can kind of hear it better with drums, but you could get someone in with a different guitar that they've never heard before. To me, it sounds like every guitar, right? But
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
their program is tuned in to so many different quality instruments that they've gone through on their journey that when something that the brain hasn't heard comes in, it could be literally a freaking string strum, right? They're gonna go, ain't heard that before, right? And it's the same way that what you can do by what I did. So just taking the sounds, the brain don't know, thinks it's instruments. I'm telling it is, right? And you start to hear music. You start to hear sound instead of going into the mindset of holy shit. Are you all right?
They're working.
Oh, you look like you were ready to fucking jump out,
I
dude.
thought somebody was taking the equipment because nobody's car's here. They must have drove from the pro shop.
Are you on the golf course?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was over in that parking area over near your mum's.
No, no, I only stay over there from time to time. But anyways, keep
Oh,
going.
okay.
Sorry. I'm
Um,
distracting as fuck, dude. Good God, I apologize.
what's that, mate?
I apologize. I'm distracting you.
Don't you know? Listen, it's me, dude. You don't have to. What are you apologising for? You don't have to apologise, dude. I'm having fun. It's fucking great talking to you. I love doing these
Yeah,
fucking
man.
chats.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, I was looking around. That startled me, but no big deal.
Positive, chill.
Yeah.
Positive channel.
Yeah.
Positive
No
channel.
more no more golf course altercations.
Positive channel, dude. Positive. No golf balls flying, fucking golf clubs smacking people. All
Yeah.
good. Right, there we go. Right. So no, I just turn it to music, dude. I mean, you can. This is stuff that you can do. It's like don't listen. Turn the turn the label off. Turn the label off to the mind. Don't call things by their name. If you want to sit down and meditate the sound, it's not a good idea to start labeling what you're hearing because the brain knows, right? I'll give you an example of the sound with me, right? Like when I walk at night around my neighborhood, when it's quiet, it's nice for here, dude. It's like it's you get around about 9:30. Everybody's kind of done with getting home from work, sort of, because we got like a freaking road that goes right the way through the community, but it's all subdivisions left, right?
Hmm.
But there's a main kind of road that winds going through our neighborhood. So I walk up through there, and the reason I like to go, a bit later in the evening is because people's getting in. There's not so much like pollution sound, you know. And then I go for a walk, and you can hear owls and shit every now and again. You'll hear these owls,
I bet
popping off.
Florida has some good nighttime noises, dude.
It's
Some
crazy.
crazy birds, crazy bugs.
Yeah, the bugs are insane, dude. When they get going, if we like have a bit of a rain and then go out, dude, the fucking frogs and because it's like fucking joyous to them, isn't it? It's like shit, right? They're singing, they're letting you know, fuck, we're happy as shit,
Yeah.
right?
The
And you
sun's
and
gone. It's not hot as shit.
yeah, man, bit
Florida
cooler.
is really nice to be in, it's a beautiful spot. But
Yeah,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
but you you start to hear different sounds, and I could hear, I would hear owls and shit. And then this one night, just to say how, the brain picks up on something different, and all of a sudden, if it has never heard it before, that's why you go, huh, what's that? Right? You kind of hear something that the brain doesn't know how to compute it. It's never felt the vibration. It doesn't know the language. It doesn't know what it is. So it starts going, split seconds of you hearing it. What's that? Right? So I'm walking back with my daughter, and it sounded like a kid crying. Right? And I'm like, what the heck is that? And there's like houses as we're walking over a wall and shit. They're always over on the right hand side or left hand side. You're going the other way, but there's always houses around. So I'm like, someone fucking like some kid, like, I'm always like, I don't want to just walk off.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, I could hear it, and it was getting a little bit louder. And I'm with my daughter, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I'm like, can you hear that fucking screaming, crying thing? And we stop and listen, and we could hear it off a bit. So she goes, oh, I can hear that. So we keep walking. Dude, I'm like, see this, I look at this lamppost, and the freaking thing is like, the light is bright where I can just see this thing on top of this post, right? And I get myself in a position and put my hand up to block the light. I look, it's a freaking owl. Right? And I'm like, no, they go, woo, woo. They don't do that. Right? Right? My head's going, they don't make that. They don't make that noise.
I didn't know owls had a British accent. Oh, dude. The owls go.
So, right? So I'm thinking, owls don't make that noise. So I'm standing there, dude, and I'm waiting for it to make a noise. And I think it knew I was there, so we're standing there. Dude, that thing's, it sounded like a screeching kid.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, my wife thinks she knows. She's fucking my missus, mate. She knows. She's in encyclopedias of missuses, right? She, right? She's like,
oh my god, dude.
She's like, I explained it to her, and she's like, that's a screech owl. And I'm like, freaking Screech was on a freaking 1970s or 1980s program when he did freaking with the school kids or something over it. Remember that? Screech.
Oh, Saved by the Bell, dude. Saved by the
Bell, right? Screech. And so he comes to mind. I'm like, Screech, are you taking the piss? Dude. Right? So I'm like, Screech, don't you mean? So she's like, yeah, that's a screech owl. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to look this fucking bullshit up, right? So I'm over there, and I go to Google. It's got nothing to do with any screech owl. I don't know what. There ain't no such thing. But no.
There isn't?
The missing encyclopedia that I got sitting downstairs. Fucking mate. All you got to do is walk in, plug it in.
Encyclopedia of Mrs.
Mate, you could call my missus' name's Tracy, but you could just call her Trace, right? Because you could walk in, don't think about anything, just go Trace. What's blah blah blah, and dude, it comes right out. It's amazing.
She's like Alexa.
What's that?
She's like an Alexa or a Hey Google.
Yeah.
Or a Siri.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You just call it out. Trace. What is this sound? Oh, she'll go, it's a screech owl. Thank you, Trace. That's my missus.
The Encyclopedia of Mrs. And then owls go ooh. and then the funniest thing that I think I might ever have heard in my entire life is when you said J. Edgar on Alive. That might have been the funniest thing that I ever heard in my entire life.
I was telling my missus about that. You lost your shit.
Oh, dude. But your impression of an owl and then the Encyclopedia of Mrs. That is one of the most British statements in the history of British statements. My missus is the Encyclopedia of Mrs. fucking
It don't,
shit, dude.
it don't matter what. It don't matter what I wear. What it don't matter what subject. I know nothing, mate. I don't. Grom says that. I don't know anything. You know what? Fucking neither do I.
Dude,
Apparently.
Guam. First there's a lady named Lisa Oakley, and she says hi, Steve. And then Grom asks how you feel hitting 100 subs.
Hang on. Oh, Lisa's on. Cool, man. Awesome. We've just started to get talking a little bit, and yeah, man. Thanks for getting on. That's awesome. Killer.
Yeah, this is just another. This is just another thing where, like, do you remember the live that I did? I got all those weird people in.
Dude, what? Yeah, that was like.
I
I
don't
mean, that was like.
understand. Like, and it's good that I would rather not have them come to your channel, but it's just weird that they show up on mine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because
I
you
would
look like
rather
a
have
Viking.
Lisa too, but it's
You
so
look like
unusual.
you look like a Viking, mate. That's what it is.
I attract them. I attract them. You could say it. Yeah, yeah, Tori. He says the encyclopedia of misses is. But yeah, hey, Grom wants to know how you felt hitting 100 subs.
You know, it was really weird, dude, because I I was 3 out from 100. Right? It was like what mid last week, I think, something like that. I can't remember when I hit the
I
when
think
I
it
hit
was
the.
Friday.
Was it Friday?
Friday,
Oh yeah, it
you
was because
put,
I got a hold of Tory. Yeah, it
you
was
put that
Friday.
out Friday morning. You put that out like
Because
early,
Thursday,
probably 6 or 7 or 8.
yes, because Thursday, I remember now. I went to bed, I checked it, right, and I was still 3 down, and I thought, and I freaking, visualization, dude, right. I sat on the edge of the bed and I saw the numbers going, right, and I just put because the energy was going to flow, dude. Right, if you put your mind in the right place, that's going to pick up on the vibration and send that out there. Right, it's going out and looking for freaking antennas. Right, and I've done this before, and I strongly believe in it. And I that night, and then I woke up in the morning, right, and I checked, and I hadn't just gone past 100. I was into like 106 or whatever it was, right,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, holy shit, right. So the first thing was that, like, the non-belief, right? The like, holy, how did that go from there to there and overnight? Because I literally checked it at like 1 in the morning, right? So the non-belief of it kicked in, and also the because I do have self-doubt, right? That piece of like, wow, these people, that amount of people really like what they're getting, and it all, and it builds that foundation,
hmm,
right? But it's really hard. It's hard to take in when you well, for me, because I fell into all this by mistake, dude. I mean, I didn't plan any of
Well,
this
you've
shit.
only really you've only been doing this for 4 months.
I've been banging out the Friday drops about a couple of years now, I think.
Right, right, right. But I
Um,
mean, like with the shorts, and you got this new podcasting thing, and you're putting out things on YouTube. I think the shorts are the biggest thing. That's what that one short. I mean, it's the one short that you put out and that you were asking for it. But it's like I mean, it's weird because 100 subscribers to some of these people won't seem like much, but anybody that has 1 million subscribers, they know when
right,
they remember when they hit 100. That's the thing.
right, right,
So like
right.
it's just this weird like milestone. But it's crazy to think. I mean, I just think it's just crazy to think that people or YouTube or however this thing actually works won't just put your stuff over some of these other weird things that are
Right,
out there, you know?
right, right. And
It's so bizarre.
it's so the initial bit of like, holy shit, and then that really that really has started pushing me to want to get that podcasting going. It's
Is that
Grom's.
something that you and Grom have been talking about?
Well, Grom's come up and said he's going to do some music for me, right?
Nice.
So I'm gonna have an intro and an outro, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
starting to
yeah,
learn
yeah.
how to program the buttons on that first. Because I want to put it out there, and it's going to come soon. Because all I want to do is just get on the mic and just start talking, right? Because I want it to be. I don't want it to be a set up podcast, right? I don't want to lose the rawness of what I'm trying to do, right? And yes, I've got a freaking beautiful piece of equipment sitting downstairs, right? And yeah, I want to make it sound nice, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to edit it, right? And I'm not doing that just to be, because it's like, oh, I don't know how to edit. I'd figure it out, right? I'm probably going to have to throw it into some kind of editor to
You
throw it out
will.
there,
And you
right?
might want to chop up a little bit on the front end and a little bit. Sorry, I got to put my phone on the charger.
No,
But
you're good, man.
um yeah, I mean like you won't really have to edit any of these things. It's crazy because are you thinking about just doing like audio or are you going
Yeah,
to be doing like a video
yeah.
too?
Well, at the minute, right at the very beginning, it's going to be. I'm just going to bang out audio, right? I'm just going to do an audio podcast because I do lives on here. We
Mhm.
chat, we all go on each other's channels, and we all chat and shit, right? And I'm banging out some meditations and shit now. So I wanna keep it separate but together. That makes sense. So I don't really want to mix up me sitting there doing the podcast with a video. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
there's this channel that's called Fall of Civilizations. It's just a history channel that touches on stuff like that. But what he does is he puts out the audio version first, like a podcast where you just listen to it, and then he
yeah,
works on like the video version, but the audio is the exact same. And then he just, takes like stock clips from the internet, but every video he puts out, and it's crazy. He's got like probably close to 1 million subscribers now, and he's only got like 15 videos or 30 videos because
wow,
15 different videos, but each one is audio and video or whatever. But
yeah,
it's exactly like you would do. That sounds
yeah.
like
I,
that's pretty
I,
sick.
I didn't even realize. I mean, I've got a Nikon, was it D53 camera or whatever it. It's a nice fucking camera, dude. Right? And I don't know why. I get into these areas where when something starts getting a little technical, and I think I might screw something up. Thank God you boys have all fucking helped me out there, and girls out there in the group, right? And people that I'm bumping into, because I watch you guys doing that, and I'm like, hey, shit, I'll have a go, right?
Yeah, why not,
Um,
dude?
but I've got a really nice camera, and I didn't even realize you could hook that up as a camera to a computer, right? So getting this soundboard that I've got. Sorry.
It's crazy, and I wouldn't know how to hook it up either. Like I know you can, but to actually do it and get everything out of it, I wouldn't know what to do either.
Right. But I know, Grom. We got some writings coming up here in a minute. Grom's told me because I asked him. I'm like, can I hook this? And he's like, oh yeah. And then, are you all right?
They're just fucking loud rednecks, dude. Jesus Christ.
Unbelievable. God, you want to live where I live? Shit.
It's
Uh,
probably the exact same.
dude, I'm literally freaking 20 minutes
Uh,
from the Bifflo border, and if you drive through there, oh shit, yeah, boy. um, but I can't remember what we were saying. You was talking. What was you saying? So this is what
we
I
were
do.
talking about the podcast. We were talking about
Oh, hang on. Well, Tori says visuals has my vote. I personally switch off to just
No,
audience.
Grom said something about Machine Studio. He thinks you should go Machine
Yes. Yeah.
Studio.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
that is. I've never
Machine.
watched that.
You haven't? No. It,
No.
it's it's on YouTube, but it's just audio, right?
Right.
It's exactly the direction that I want to go. Because this guy,
Yeah.
it sounds like he just grabs the mic straight up, goes out there and does it, right? And
Well, it's how
it's
you
got
do your walk. You don't edit that
same
shit.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Same thing, right? I want to. If there's mistakes in it, there's mistakes in it. I'm going to have buttons to where it's freaking. I've already got this. I started piss balling about with the sound a little bit, right? And I
Piss
and I
ball.
and I wanted to program one of the buttons because I didn't really know what I was doing. And I heard this. I talked into the mic and I could hear this, and I was like, "Oh, I could have that as like a subconscious, right?" So I've got this freaking button. I'm probably going to play around with it a little bit more. But I've got this button where I can press a button, talking on the microphone, and go, "Steve, I'm your subconscious mind." Like, because if I'm talking, and right, I can press this fucking button and be like, "Yeah, dude, I'm gonna like, yeah, different voice." I can. I'm
Damn,
going. I'm going to
that's
be.
sick,
I'm
dude.
going to be able to have call-ins through my
Right,
phone because I can Bluetooth to the unit. Right. Apparently,
right.
again, this is only stuff I freaking heard.
Yeah.
Right.
Grom's fucking magic Grom. Ooh, he's gonna hook everything up to the universe, and then everything is just gonna work. Oh, Grom, fucking
Including those.
Jesus
That's why he has
Christ.
to have those glasses around to operate it all.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah,
they're
dude.
probably solar panels.
Yeah, dude. Grom's a fucking robot. Those are his solar battery chargers. Jesus, come on, dude.
Oh yeah,
Grom's
yeah.
like, yeah, bro. Go ahead.
What we got here? Lisa, don't worry, it'll all go quantum soon. Keep us beautifully real and raw. It's medicine, right? People relate to it. It's how I do, dude. It's how I do my when I've got someone sitting in front of me.
Well, and then
It's me.
it's just I'll go back to how real you are. Like you can't fake yourself. Like you can't pretend what you're doing. You go out and make those videos walking around. Just it's like a freestyle rap song. It's the exact same thing. You don't have anything planned. And then sometimes you'll go a mower will drive by, or you'll hear a loud ass
Yeah,
car, or you'll like say hello to somebody,
yeah.
and then keep going, dude. It's like I couldn't
Because
do
it's
it. I'm not that focused.
because you know what, dude. It's the reason I want to keep it real is because it shows that there's normal people out here that's doing it, right? There's no fluffing with it, right? And when I'm walking past someone, I say good morning. I never used to be that guy. I used to be that guy, look down, shy away, and just don't say anything because that's how it was in London. You didn't freaking look at someone walking down the street and say good morning. They'd be like, who the fuck? What? What do you mean good morning? What's good? What's good? You get a you'd be like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm fucking working 3 jobs, and before you know it, you're like having oh shit, sorry, I just
Yeah.
said good morning, right? But it was one of those things. I always used to be the guy that would look like you'll still catch me doing it. I'll be looking down, right? Yeah, I'm looking, making sure my freaking flipper feet don't hit something, and I go arse over tit. Yeah, I'm thinking about that, right? But some of the time I might be coming up, and I'm like, if I look down, I don't have to make eye contact. And I thought, why am I doing that? Right?
Right.
Why? You'll see people doing it all the time as you're walking towards them. They'll do this, look away. And it's like, why? It's like being embarrassed about something. What are you embarrassed about? Right? Why can't you present yourself and maybe make someone's day by smiling and saying, good morning? Right? So by doing that and showing that, someone else that may have that little bit of fear of walking past people will catch onto that. Right?
Right.
There's reasons. It's just like when I work with my mate. I was deathly afraid of the phone. Hated the phone. Didn't like the phone would ring and I would shit myself. Right? and I would go and work at my mate's gaff, right? And the phone was always ringing, right? But I knew they would deal with it, like him and a couple of the other guys that I knew, because he's a fabricator, right? And so what happened? It was a couple of times the phone would ring, and I found myself fucking picking it up. It's like, huh, right? Because you're mixing with that energy. They're doing it, right? And it can be something as simple as that, or seems simple to somebody picking up the phone, right? To me, it was complete panic. Like I gotta get out of here. I used to freaking do my head in. I'd sweat and shit, right? I'd go in, and even when I pick it up and see the person on the other side, whoever it could be a mate, couldn't answer the phone. All these, it was crazy, right? But it takes looking at those pieces, because the way I broke it was it, but the work I do now, and so it broke. It was a split decision from my therapist that had somebody who's now a good friend of mine. Um, Called me. She texted me first of all. It was like 9 in the evening, and she's like, "Steve, can you get on a phone call? I've got a crisis." And I'm like, "What?" That split second of like, "What?" But the fact that it wasn't about me, someone was in crisis, mental health, right? So I immediately just went, yeah, and got on the phone, three-way conversation, and then my therapist, she goes, "I got a split. Are you okay sitting with this one, Steve?" I'm like, fuck, what? And it just went from there, dude. And that's how it just started. I'm not afraid of the phone no more. So like, it's just it's facing those situations, man. Like looking, sometimes we've got to face that bit of fear to be able to widen yourself to be able to face certain things. Otherwise you don't grow. I wouldn't have done any of this if I would have stopped at the phone. Game over.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have, I mean,
Sure.
I wouldn't have had this career, you know, this whole thing, this whole knowledge that I can't get enough of. I'm constantly looking and reading and checking out shit, and I wouldn't have known any of it if I hadn't faced the fear of that phone.
Yeah, and it's almost like I like crave the scary drops when I'm surfing. And doing this for you, it's like this. I bet it's really similar feeling. Like right
Was
before you go live, like every time you do it, I bet you get a little nervous or whatever. And
Yeah,
but I like that feeling because it's like,
yeah.
it just like
It's
jacks me up a little bit, and it like makes me feel like I'm fucking doing something, and like I'm doing something, you know?
right, right. The 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 definition of a warrior and courage is feeling the fear and doing it.
Mhm.
Right? It's when a little bit of nerves is good, like you say. It does. It's known for that. It does give you a shove. It gives you. If anybody came to me and said I ain't nervous, I'd be fucking like, what? The crazy thing is that's the message I got from my dad.
Yeah.
No fear. Right. So there I am growing up. My dad was a fucking commando during the Second World War. Right. Fucking captured by the Germans, got away. The guy was a fucking hero to me. It was like, holy shit. Right. And never once did I hear out of his mouth, I was scared. Ever. Right. And I've seen that guy in some situations that'll make your toes curl. Right. And nothing, no words of fear. So what does that tell a freaking kid? Right. Now you're growing up with that program from an early age. Right. You hear all the stories, war stories and things that happened, and he freaking tried to save him. He was running up the beach one day, I don't know where, in combat, right? And he said he was running up a beach one day, sees his mate with the fucking top of his head off, and try to bring him back. He's like, and I remember him telling me the fucking story like yesterday, like how crazy. Like he's like, you think you're going to come back to life, and he's like, never heard fear, never, right? So and then when you start growing up and you start attempting to get into some things individually by yourself, and then you start feeling fear. I can't feel fear. That ain't my dad. My dad's a freaking hero. I want to be the hero. I want, but the fear is there. It's an emotion. It's something that's going on. You can't stop it. It is. It just is. Right? It's part of human nature. But when you got the message of that don't exist, shuts you down every fucking time. Every time. Because it's not a matter of those little bit of nerves to where, you may have got coaxed. Like, it's okay, it's okay to, I like I did with my girls. Hey, shit, man, I was scared. I felt fear, but I went, this is what I did. This is a way to handle it. This is something that you can use. No, none of that shit. Right? So
Yeah.
how do you handle it? It's you, and then you get into that's when you get into those fear areas where in the air it's just because it's going to start running into other areas. Why am I fearing this? Why am I scared of the phone? Right? What the fuck? Right? and my dad didn't want a phone in the house. Hated phones. You know why? Because he was scared of them, but never said he was scared of the phone. No. Right? So there you are, and there I am growing up, fear of dad's got fear of the phone. He's my hero. Hey, let's be scared of the phone. This guy. Right?
Yeah, man.
Right?
That's
But
crazy.
that's how this works.
Right.
So when I started getting into that spiritual side, man, that's when I started to be able to like discover myself a little bit and starting to realize that it's okay to say no, and it's okay to freaking think of myself, and it's okay to, if you're in a freaking situation and they're not going to be happy with you not going or something, hey, that's on them, not on me.
Right.
But it was
Yeah.
always around the other way. So once you start to learn about yourself, which is what I teach, like if someone comes in front of me, I'm like, right, where do you want to go? Right? It's like I remember, and if you're there in front of somebody, if you're going into therapy, right, and this is to everybody out there, if you're going into therapy because someone told you to go into therapy, don't go into therapy, right? You've got to want to go into therapy to be there for yourself. Put yourself in the therapy. Now you're going to be on board with it. If you're being pushed into a situation to where someone's going, I mean, look at people that have to do certain things. They get a bit of right? Bird time, right? Prison time. I'm freaking hard shit, right? They get a bit of they'll get a bit of prison time, right? And there ain't no, what was I talking about? Rehabilitation. What was I talking about? I fucking forgot.
Um. Uh. Oh fuck. People like how they act when like one way to another. Like
Forgot, mate.
dude.
It don't
Fuck.
matter. Oh, nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
No. Yeah. The phone. The
Touring for the
phone.
save.
The
Touchdown.
phone.
Thank you.
The phone. The phone, bro.
Tory got it. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's feeling. It's honestly.
Pushed into
It,
therapy. Grom got it.
pushed
Grom.
into therapy. Right. There you go. So when you're it's a scary place. It's another one of those nervous, scary places, right? But if you're being pushed into a situation that you're fearing and they're going, you got to do this. Not only is your fucking anxiety going off the charts, but you really, if your mind is saying, hang on a minute, it's fucking chastising me, having a go at me, what the fuck? You ain't going to be on board with what you're about to hear, right?
Right. Yeah.
You got to
Yeah,
be
and I
you got
think
to be
it's just
tuned in for
it's an
yourself.
honesty thing too. Like there's a real I think there's a real disconnect between, and I don't mean like I mean between a person and themselves. Like it's just so easy to believe your own shit, and I quit drinking a long time ago, and
Yeah, good for
I
you,
can
man.
look yeah, well, and I can look back at that and be like, even though I put myself into rehab because I knew that they were going to give me the drugs to detox without having to deal with all the terribleness.
Yeah,
Uh, somewhere in there was some honesty, you know?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there was me being sort of as honest with myself as I could be. And then I checked, and I had to do that 2 different times. So it's like, yeah,
You went into
yeah,
rehab?
yeah, I had to go twice, but I wasn't put there by anyone. The
Right.
second time I went was purely to make sure that I didn't drink again. The first time was because I didn't have any more money for alcohol, and I knew that I would get that they would detox me without me being in danger of like having a seizure and dying
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just feeling like shit in general.
So what put you there, dude? What put you? What made? What was the trend? When do you remember getting involved with alcohol?
Oh, like 12 or 13.
Really? For
Yeah, but it was never for the longest time I only drank because it was what we did. I never really liked smoking herb, um, until until probably 4 years after I quit drinking was when I like was finally honest with myself and I was okay with my life enough to where I could smoke some weed and like enjoy it.
yeah.
Now that's completely different. Like now it's something that I use just to make sure that like I am always like forward thinking and never reactive, although it doesn't help very often, at least
Right.
lately. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, it's just like, but yeah, going back to what you were talking, yeah, you got to do it for yourself, whether it's therapy or what, or like what I was talking about. It'll never work. It'll never take until you do it for yourself, or you get pushed into it at a point like with something like a legal matter, or your wife is like,
Right.
listen, like you got, but it's got to be that it can't be a job most of the time. It's got to be like your freedom or your family. Usually one of
Right.
those two
Right.
is if it takes that. And again, like I didn't have a fucking person that gave a shit whether I was drinking. Now, a couple years after I
Mm.
had stopped, well, I guess my dad knew when I went to rehab, my dad knew that it was an issue. So I'd take that back. He knew I was there and obviously he cared. But as far as like there was no girlfriend, there was no friends to speak of. And so it was then that was great. That was really good. Not
Mm.
in the I didn't think of it like that, but
Right.
it
Right.
was
But
the
there's no
best thing
support. There
for
was
me.
no support base there. There was no
There
one
was
that
no
really.
support, but I'm a human just like you're a human, just like Grom's a human, just like Rick's a human, just like
Sure.
everybody's a human. And whether you have something going on or not, like we all have this just fucking do it in us. And there's always something that'll do it. Sometimes people never find it, but there's
Mm.
always fucking something.
Mm.
But I don't know why or how or fucking I just got lucky. And like the reason that I went in was selfish and really immature. But
Why? Why? What
because
was
I
that?
wanted to get the drugs to detox myself because I knew I couldn't afford more alcohol. If I had more money, I probably would have kept drinking.
Yeah, but
So
you're
go
prime.
think about that brain fuck.
Yeah, but think about what if not, right? You would have been
Well,
fucking. You
yeah,
might not be sitting here right now, right?
right,
So
but that's the truth though. That's the truth. And it did like I was never the one to be like I'm not an alcoholic. Like I was just like I drink. I
right.
don't fucking care really. Like
Yeah.
whatever. And so that was that. But then when I decided to change, like that helped me too because I was never ashamed of it. I when
Right.
I was drunk, I was never ashamed of it. When I was
Yep.
now I'm not ashamed of it. I'm lucky
Yep.
that nothing bad, really bad happened because I never had any DUIs. I was never arrested. I got arrested a lot as a kid for like having booze and weed, but never because I did anything dumb. Never, no car wrecks, no, I never got
Wow.
arrested for anything bad.
Wow.
And that's
That's
really
good.
lucky. Yeah, because I was actually the first year that I moved down to this part of Michigan, to the lower peninsula. I got pulled over in this town that I am in now, and I've only lived in this town for about a year. But I was up here doing something, driving around, and I got pulled over with, I was fucking shit faced, and I had some weed. This was before it was legal. The cop parked my car and drove me back to the house that I was at and gave me a reckless driving ticket. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, and so it was probably, I don't know, 6 months later
Oh.
that I decided to do what I did. But again,
And then you
I'm
quit,
not
and you
saying
quit 6 months later after that is that what you're saying? You quit after
yeah,
that?
that's when I went in and everything, but it's not because of that.
Right.
And it was always in my head because while I wasn't like denying or being jaded to the fact that I had a terrible drinking problem, when when that happened, I was like, man, maybe I should think about stopping. you know,
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah.
it's just what I did. And I'd say this to everybody. I'm really lucky that I had no trauma or no mental illness. I just drank alcohol for so long, so often that I was physically addicted to the substance.
Yeah.
So once I
Yeah.
got off of it, like I just turned back into myself. And that's not everybody has that luxury,
Right.
like
Right.
I'm a lucky one on a lot of fronts.
But you're not
I'm
just
lucky
lucky,
one
dude.
on
You wanted to go there, otherwise you wouldn't be there.
yeah, and I did put in a lot of work. But
Yeah. That's not luck.
it's kind of like my van life. Well, I have to be honest. Some of it is just either. So okay, we'll go this way. It's one of two things. It's fucking Jupiter and Uranus aligning in the universe, literally something coming down and directing me, or
Yeah.
it's fucking luck.
No.
So pick
I go
pick
with the
one
first
because
I
I
go
don't
with the
know.
first one.
It could be
Tell
just
you,
like
man.
Santa Claus and Jesus and aliens, bro. One of them's real. One of them. I don't know which one. One of those. At least one is real.
But
And
it's like I say about you. It's like I say to you about your heart, right? You know, you're a fucking blinding dude, man, right? And you have you have that freaking way about you. That's the reason. That's the reason you're being brought through these things, man. Because you've learned lessons. You became aware, right, and awareness of something's going on, and you wanted to go in that direction because of your freaking energy told you so. There ain't no luck. You choose.
I mean, that would be great if that's how it is, then I'll take that for sure.
You choose. You choose your directions, dude.
And I'm not saying I didn't put in a lot of fucking struggling but again, I was always honest with myself when I was drinking and when I was done with it and I didn't have that physical like draw to it, I knew and I still do like nothing is going to happen that's going to rattle my world and that's going to make me go drink. I
Right.
know that. If I
Good.
decide to go drink, it'll be because I want to. And
Right.
there's not even like it would be like saying I'm like, "Oh god, I really need some Brussels sprouts, Steve." Like, "Oh god, dude."
Right.
Like that's the equivalent to me and booze now. Like it's just like I
Right.
don't want any Brussels sprouts and I don't
Good.
want any Stolies. Like it's just it
Good.
and but that's weird because before I couldn't do anything without being even just a little buzzed.
Right. That was me, dude. But
It's weird.
I used to drink and go on duty, like chefing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I was doing service, when it would all fucking kick off and I was doing service is when you're up front and you're fucking doing the orders and you're making sure everything's coming up and it's all,
Well,
it's like,
drinking and that kitchen culture go hand in hand.
dude, absolutely it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many, I mean, you'd see it around you all the time. Chef's drunk. Myself has been drunk on duty, right? Um, and you're always around it. I mean, in the House of Commons alone, I think there's like nine. I don't know what it is now, but it used to be like 9 different bars when I worked there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
no joke, right? 40 different restaurants or so. I don't know. It's like crazy, right? So you're always around it because there's access to it.
Yeah.
So, I used to go down the club before fucking the busy service, have a couple of beers to give me that bit of an edge because it was like fucking stress was insane. But I was
Yeah.
covering up my own anxiety. That's what I was doing. Right.
Right.
I chose it. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that it's a very difficult thing to get out of. But once you know you've got out of it. When it comes to like alcohol and things, because I was the same, dude. The last time I went
Yeah.
back to England, I drank tea in pubs. I always drank
Right.
beer. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean,
Yeah.
but
When you're done, you're done. When you're done, you're done.
yeah, you just know, and it is. You got to break away from it. There's a draw to that.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of choice to come
Yeah.
away.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's easy to go back, and it's not. I hate comparing things, but it's just a lot easier to drink than it is to shoot heroin, and
Right.
so while heroin is way harder to get off of, I feel like than alcohol, in the worst stages of it. Sometimes the easiest shit like sugar and nicotine and alcohol are the ones that are
Sugar's the worst,
probably
dude. Every
yeah,
it's crazy how you'll get someone sitting there saying about someone who's got an addiction to something while they're fucking smashing sugar, right? And it's like, well, hang on a minute, the sugars are fucking inflammatory, so it will really cause some inflammation within the body. It's
yeah.
4 times more addictive than cocaine, right? Sugar. I mean, it's a really
Well, it's a
bad.
stimulant as well.
Yeah, dude. So you're bringing in a bunch of shit. It's really not good for anxiety. I mean, when you look at anxiety, they say fucking avoid sugar. I mean,
Mhm. Oh
I like
yeah,
sugar, right?
yeah.
But yeah,
You
sugar's
could
one of
throw
those
caffeine
stimulants.
in there too.
What's that?
You could throw caffeine in there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, because caffeine can raise the heart rate. If you've got too load of it in you, raise that heart rate a little bit, right? And then once the brain starts connecting with that, like, hang on a minute, this is going a bit quick, right?
Yeah.
It's going to start firing off all the different chemicals and everything. Then you start going and thinking it's panic, and
Well,
you go
yeah,
into a panic
yeah,
attack.
exactly. Yeah. I'm sleeping on British time right now, so when I drink too much coffee by like fuck 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, I gotta go to sleep. It's like the weirdest feeling. I'm like, I got all the energy in the world, but I'm super tired because I've been up since midnight.
You work at fucking like stupid o'clock in the morning.
Well, in the summer it's one thing, but now it's terrible because it's what is it? I don't know even know what time it is right now. It's probably 4:30, and
Yeah,
it's
4:30.
dusk. And I guess this is like this in most places, but when I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning right now, it doesn't get light out till 7. So I'm awake for 6 hours when it's dark, and it's just a weird. It's like dark out for more than it's light out for me being awake. It's a weird
Yeah.
thing.
And you what time you? I mean, you're cutting grass at like freaking 2 in the morning sometimes, isn't it? It's like when
Yeah,
early.
it's good in the summertime. It gets light out by 5, so I'm really only in the dark and it stays light out until like 10 o'clock at night, 9 or 10 at night. So
Wow,
like. But yeah, this time of year, I got to get on a little bit of a different schedule. If I could sleep to like 3 on average, that would be nice. But
I can't believe you're talking
whatever.
about sleeping in to 3 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I tell Grom this and Rick this all the time. I'm like, you guys, all you got to do is just lose a little bit of sleep, and you could surf as much as me. You could keep your jobs in your regular life. You just got to not sleep some more.
Screw that shit, mate. That would do my head in. I know when I haven't slept enough, my anxiety gets worse. I mean, it can raise it up a little bit because I'm just like, and I get ratty. I can get a bit ratty. I notice
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
which is bullshit for your fucking anger.
Yeah, and I'm a douche most of the time, and I have. Do you know what FOMO is?
FOMO?
Yeah, yeah,
Am I saying it right? FOMO?
yeah, yeah. FOMO, fear of missing out. That's like the acronym.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have that. So like my anxiety comes when I don't go surfing, or like when I think I'm missing on waves. So like I could wake up and be tired as shit. But if I can be like, it's because I went surfing yesterday, I'd be like, that's all right. You know what I'm saying? The second I gotta wake up early and do some shit that I don't want to do, and I haven't surfed a few days,
Oh,
I'm I'm crabby. You know, whether I've got a
right,
bunch of sleep or not, I'm fucking
right.
crabby. So it's weird, but I get it. Like but sleep is super important, and I think that affects me. Maybe it's why I'm a little more reactive than I want to be sometimes. You
You
know?
can't, yeah, man. I mean, you're talking about sleeping until 3 in the morning, and I'm like, that don't even
Yeah.
compute.
I
So,
probably sleep like 5 hours a night because I go to
oh, you need
sleep
more, you need a
early
bit
too,
more than
like
that, maybe.
7. Yeah, 5, 6 hours a night. It's not bad, you know.
But
And
it
then
ain't stellar.
no, it's not stellar, but like when I go to sleep, I'm out. You know, I don't know, and it's not like I wake up and I'm like, where am I? What van am I in? Because I have 2 vans, ladies. Sorry about that.
Oi,
Multiple
oi.
property owner. Go subscribe to my channel if you already haven't.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
very much. And
Yeah.
tell your mans, because
Tell you
I'm getting
next.
older. But yeah, so like I'll wake up and I'll just like I'll know that I fell asleep. Or I'll fall asleep and I'll have like a short on repeat on the laptop because I fell asleep scrolling through shorts or like
No
just
way. So you
weird
don't even
stuff.
know
So
you've been
like
out.
yeah, in the summer, if I get good waves on a summer day and I work, dude, I'll fall asleep and I'll be lights out, you know? Like
Yeah.
but it's perfect because that's I don't want to like if I'm tossing and turning, I'll just wake up and edit or something weird, you know.
They say
But I
if
got
you like that, you get up. That's what they say. They say if you're
yeah,
like trying to just get up.
yeah. It makes me more stressed out to try to sleep. I would rather be tired. I go so hard some days. It's weird to me, you know, because like
But so
what
go on, go on. What was you saying? Sorry.
I'm pushing the big 40. You know, I'm only 37, but I might as well be 40. You
Are you,
know.
dude? Are you serious?
I don't know if my hair is blonde or if they're white. I can't tell.
Does that go a different color in the sun?
Yeah, well, see, it's winter time now, so it's going to turn red.
Oh
In the
wow!
summer, it's
You got
blonde.
Irish blood?
Yeah, I'm mostly Finnish, but yeah, definitely some Irish. I think I might be from Yorkshire. The sauce,
Really?
you know. Well, my dad's mom is her last name was McGinty.
Oh, that could go either way.
Yeah, it's up in that corner, that upper left corner of England or something like that.
So it is Scotland way then,
Yeah, something
or
like
is it
that.
Irish?
I think if I'm anywhere in there, it's mostly Scottish, but definitely, a little bit of English. But yeah, dude. So in the winter time, especially since I've been surfing, it bleaches it out, and then it'll turn red.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you really,
It's starting to shift.
yeah. It's so bizarre.
So is this your ultimate time of year now for surfing where you're at, or what? Because
Yeah,
it sounds yeah it is.
yeah. Just with the volume of waves, and it sucks because the water's cold now. You know, our nights are getting in the 30s. You know, so
Wow,
and the
yeah.
days are just barely touching the 50s, so the water turns real quick. And it's just something you deal with.
Does it rely because you know why is it this time of year? Because I'm trying to because it's snowy and cold. I can't imagine because you've got to rely on wind and shit, right?
Yeah, yeah. Usually when we go out, it's pretty much like during a storm.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, at the very least, like on a windy, cooler day, that's pretty much 80 times or 80% of the time when we'll go out. Summer, winter, whenever, it's usually colder than the average day and windier than the average day. We'll
So you
get
must have a
right.
lot then because you're surfing here every day, right?
Yeah, and I drive a lot, you know. I'm about 400 miles away from 300,000 miles on this van. And I
Wow,
didn't put
no
it
shit.
all on there, but I drive at least 1,000 miles a month. So
Wow.
I surf a lot because I go a lot, and I surf a lot because I don't always surf the biggest, best waves, but I always catch waves when I go out,
Yeah.
and that's the name of
But
the game.
but that's another thing. That's another thing that I like about you is you got so much passion with it. It's like, oh fucking, I use this size ball because there's little waves that I'll catch them. It's that's that freaking passion that you got. That it's like unless you've got a passion for something, you can't explain it. It's that
Mhm.
it's that constant pull and making something of something that may not even be there. You know what I mean? Because where most people might go and go, it's fuck all there, right? You'll turn up with that passion and go, shit, I'll make it happen. That and
Yeah,
that's that passion. That's that thing, that piece that puts you above somebody else. Seriously, in surfing, because you're going to look. You're always looking. You're always, and all the while you're looking, all the while you're like, okay, what do I do here? What do I do there? And using your environment that may not be giving you the right cards, right? You're learning on another level that they ain't. So it's because you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to do whatever. If you've got a passion, don't just
right.
learn here. Learn there too,
Well,
right?
yeah, and it's a weird thing because like there has been days recently where like I just won't film anything. And before I wouldn't really want to even go unless I could film something. And I think it's like a double-edged sword. Like I'm surfing so much better now that I don't necessarily even need to film every time I go out, but it's become this other thing now where like I could ride a tiny wave if it's breaking
Yeah,
and it's like a fun ride. I could ride that wave all day long. If I could
yeah,
stay warm enough, I'd just ride that little wave all day until the
yeah.
light goes out. Until my he said he needs sleep. Yeah, dude. But yeah, it's just so bizarre, and I haven't felt like this about anything. And my dad watches my channel, and he sees it too. You know, like he uh he knew how much I loved hockey, and he knows how much he loves golf, and he can
Mm,
see like what I do. And I mean, he obviously knows I've only been surfing for a small amount of time, and
right.
he says the same thing. He's just like, you could tell that you really, really like doing it, and it's like something that uh
You can
that you
tell.
just
You
yeah,
can
it's just like it's not a
just
thing.
know.
It's just not a thing. You know, it's not like pickleball. It's not like whatever. It's just
Right.
different. You know.
It's completely different. And I used to have that same thing when I worked in the kitchens. You'd have a new guy walk in the door, and you knew within 10 minutes, like whether they're in it, whether they're there mentally, or whether
Mhm.
they're just there for a job. you know and
Yeah.
there's a complete difference because the person that's in it mentally for the passion goes that bit more. They will look out because of the passion pushes them there. Someone that's just not in it, it's like when you get in a job that you don't really like, right? You're going to give them shit, right? You're not going to give them the extra hours or anything. Where if you get into a freaking job that you got a passion about, the people are nice to you and you're good with, you'll give something,
Mhm.
right? It's that passion. But you push someone down and don't give them that passion, you ain't gonna perform because you don't want to.
Yeah, and I feel like it'll come back to you too. Like you know, if
It
you have
does,
a if you're in a position to like help somebody and like I find myself like over helping sometimes when I see somebody surfing in a bad spot or whatever. But I just feel like if you're not gonna help somebody in that situation, especially with like when something that you're super passionate about, like it's gonna come back to you, and you're not gonna enjoy how it how
right?
it sees you. Like it's just gonna be it's just such a weird thing. And I was like that with hockey too. Like I ran a bunch of adult clinics, and it was so awesome because the people that would go and do them like they wanted to learn. They really like they actually wanted to learn. So it's like shit. It's really cool. And it's the only thing that I've ever like coached or taught anything.
Yeah.
But it's like it was really cool to see. But yeah, you could tell like yeah, and it was always the people that wanted to learn. So it was like we never, there was never anybody there that was just there to be whatever. But
Right.
it's a
Right.
cool
It's
experience.
fun because we've gotten full circles because kind of comes back to that fucking wanting to go into therapy, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's the one. It's the one. It's the one. It's
Yeah.
the one to do. It's the one to do it. And the other thing that comes into a lot of it, which is it's a big subject right now, and all I think is patience, right? It's the because I know when I first started getting into this journey, and I sat in front of my therapist once, and she's like, "You got to slow down," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You're grabbing everything, you're reading everything, you're getting overstimulated. You want to slow down a little bit." It's the patience of knowing that if you keep going that way, it's like driving a freaking car 100 mile an hour. Something's going to fall off at some point. Can't keep
Yeah.
you can't keep flooring it and think, hey,
Yeah. It's like there's steps, like no matter what you're doing, no matter what it is, no matter there's no exception. Like whatever you're doing, there's always going to be some sort of process that's needed. If you want to do it like the best, anybody can rush through something and get it done whatever way and
right,
have it not be the best that they whatever. But yeah, if like there's always these steps that you have to take, and I'm finding that out more and more. Like just with my YouTube channel, I thought because I was kind of weird and quirky or whatever, like I just would get a bunch of subscribers, and I didn't realize so many people have tried to do the lake surfing thing. And once I realized, I was like, oh, like nobody gives a shit, but I still wanted to do it. That's when
right,
everything started to change, and like that's
right.
when I was just like, all right, like I see what's working, I see what's not working, blah blah blah. But I kept doing it.
That's the one.
Yeah, just kept
It's
going,
the
and
if you
it's
want something
changed.
bad enough, you make it happen.
Yeah,
You will.
but if you look at Grom's channel, like look, like he had it right away. The reason why he was doing it from the beginning, you know,
Right,
and it's
right,
like it's a completely different. It's the same, but it's different.
right,
You know,
right.
it's it's just he was doing it. He's doing things like not backwards from me, but he started with what I sort of found before I was able to actually start making videos that I liked
What's
and
that? What do you mean
everything.
found what?
Well, his whole reason for starting his channel
Yeah,
and like making videos was like to sort of help himself,
yeah. Is that
So
what
there
you're
was
saying? You
never
started videoing for? Is that what yours?
no, no, like I just started videoing my stuff because I thought that I was interesting and I thought
Yeah,
that I was special. But when I figured out that I wasn't, and I was like, but I still like making videos, then I started doing it for like the right reasons in the right way. And I started to learn about different things. Like when I sort of took myself out of it and kind of tried like doing like how you are just going out there and like literally just surfing, making the video exactly how I want it, and then just fucking kicking it out there and just like, and then the want was always there. I was just wasn't doing it. I wasn't going about it the right way. I wasn't taking these small steps that I needed to take. I was just
right,
kind of trying to jump into everything and be like a famous lake surfer before I did anything. You know what I'm saying? But
right, right.
it's and like Grom didn't really have a bunch of steps because he was decent at making videos and shit, and he had that drive, but he still had to take steps to like make himself like that stay positive dude. He was
Yeah,
saying it the whole fucking time, but I don't think the whole time he was like maybe probably wasn't living it. Obviously he is now, but again, it's just those weird steps. And
yeah,
it's so unusual. The older I get, things like they seem so simple, but the world is so fucked that doing shit the easy way isn't a thing. It's
right,
unusual. And
right.
it is a thing, But look what I've had to do to find my own way in life
Yeah,
as a regular ass dude.
yeah,
I gotta I gotta live in some vans, and it's like fuck, dude. And like sometimes I can't get away from the bullshit of society, and I don't have a
right.
mortgage. I don't have any of this weird shit. Like I'm living on basic social norms, and still even I have to like dodge the poo poo of life.
Sure. It's
That's
how you
fucking
it's how you
crazy.
react to your environment. It's not the environment itself. It's how you react to it. Because the environment's the environment. It is what it is, right? I thought of something the other day, which was it was strange. um, I was walking with my oldest daughter on Friday, and we hadn't walked for a little bit, and there was a bunch of different bits and pieces, some good, some not so good, that had happened before that, right? Like a couple of days before. There I am walking with my daughter, right? And I'm walking down the street with her, and I said, just thought of something. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, all those pieces, parts that happened, even the ones that weren't so good, have led to this point right now of
Yeah,
me walking with my daughter and having a good time. They had to happen for me to get to where I'm at, right?
yeah, weird.
So, when you look at your things back past wise, all those pieces parts happen for you to be sitting where you are right now talking to me. Even the shit that happened today and the choices you made today, those things had to happen for you to be sitting here right now,
Yep,
right?
I agree
and
with
it,
that.
it's looking at some of those things that we may be scared of, or some of those things that those times when we get up and we go, oh, I really don't want to go and do blah 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 blah. That could be something that's leading you somewhere that you're going to want to be, right? But if you all of a sudden make the choice of like, oh, I ain't going to do that, you just shut yourself down from something, right?
Right.
All these different things happen that make the picture of the missing jigsaw pieces of where you are right now. That's why it's important to live for the day. And all the while you're
Mm,
living in the
that's the
day,
truth.
right? If you're living the moment right now, which is presence, and you live that right now, you can make the choices much better in that presence to be able to mold where you're going. So and that comes down to choice. That comes down to being present with where you're at right now, looking at where you want to go, and make the choices of where you're going. Right? Some of those choices might not happen completely how you expected it to. It's unknown. We don't know. Right?
Hmm.
But if you stop at that and you don't learn the lessons of that, you're still not going to reach your goal, because you're going to stop at that one piece. And each one of these little pieces that's going to crop up, good and bad, are going to be leading your path to where you need to be. Different lessons, different things you're going to learn. That's why, we're always geared up and want to push to get to that final stage. But if we don't learn all these little bits and pieces of that unknown on the way there, if you're in that position without doing that, when something goes to shit, you ain't going to be able to fix it,
Right.
because you ain't going to know the freaking stages. It's just like in surfing. You didn't go out there, get up on the board and go, fucking hell, man, I'm fucking, and you're surfing for 10 minutes on right? That don't happen, right? You have to like put your foot wrong and buy and oh shit, should have done that.
Yeah.
Brain, adjust, boom. Before you know it, you're freaking surfing. But if you would have done it at the first one that you fell off and went, oh, don't like that, you wouldn't be surfing right now,
Yeah.
right? Same with walking. I think you can walk, right? I've seen you walking. I've seen you stand on a surfboard, right? But you didn't pop out your mum and all of a sudden here you are running around, fucking getting on a surf. You didn't do any of that, did you? You got to learn. And the brain goes, okay. It sees other things, people. It sees the mum. It sees the dad. It sees people walking around. I want to do that,
Yeah.
right? So that's when you start crawling a little bit, and then you crawl towards people, and you're like, all right, I'm going to pull myself up. But how many times did you go arse over tit before you started walking? You didn't freaking. You've got to push away from that safety to be able to feel your feet, so the brain knows how to balance, right? So if you're holding on to this freaking side all the time and you don't want to let go, dude, you'd still be holding on to your freaking side of your couch right now, frightened to let go to walk. Right? You've got to let go. And it's the only way of being able to let go of that, yeah, and move towards where you want to go. If you stop at holding on because you're scared of something, you ain't moving forward. You might as well forget about it. Right?
Yeah. What's the point? We're already here, you know? You might as well do the scariest shit as soon as you can and get it over with.
Right. Right. I mean, Lisa, it's all perfect, even within the imperfection. It's true, right? The imperfections of who we are is makes who we are, right?
Yeah,
You know,
that's what I
someone
was kind
meets
of
you,
telling Rick about how we're doing these lives. I'm like, dude, let's just put a couple out and see what happens, you know, because a lot of these lives that we do right now with pretty much all of our channels, we get most of the views after the fact. So it's like it's almost better that we kind of use some different things and kind of play with stuff in the beginning, because then people can watch it back and we
right?
can read the comments after. But yeah, it's just like it's okay if it's kind of messed up a little bit, you know?
No, it's
It's a little
dude. It's
fucked
like,
up.
it's like when Brom does his shit, right? There's been a couple of things that went a bit awry,
Yeah,
But I look at that from a guy on the outside that wants to do that, right? I'm looking on the outside going, oh, he's freaking human. I can see that
yeah,
that's okay to do and nothing, no big deal. Everything's good. Nobody's walking away because you freaking didn't have a mic plugged in or your sound ain't right or whatever. Don't overthink it. You're in there. You're in there for the love of what you do for a reason. You're doing it for a reason. It's like when you said you want to do a live today. I'm like, yeah, because I'm like freaking jonesing. I'm like, yeah, I've got the live bug, right?
yeah,
And I ain't done one for a bit. So it's if you lose that bit of wanting to go forward and do it, then you might as well not be in it. Because now you're in it for what reason are you doing it? It's like, oh, it's become something, right? But you've lost your motivation. And sometimes that can be where you do too much of it. That's why my therapist said slow down a bit,
mhm,
right? Because I was like, I want to know, I want to know, I want to know. I want to know. Reading, freaking. And I learned this, and I watched this, and that's how Rich Roll came up. I was watching all these. I couldn't get enough. I was like, oh. But it can be too much.
yeah,
You can get to that point where you start getting resenting it, right? But you chose it. And you don't want to get into the resentment part of it because you get in the resentment part of it, and then you ain't gonna want to freaking do it at all. It's like surfing, right? Let's say you still hadn't learned to get up on a board, and you're still freaking caning it off. You're still like can't get up, can't get up, can't get up. There come a point where you're going to resent it,
mhm,
right? But it's allowing the mistakes and then learning by it, not letting, because what we do normally in daily life is we'll have these things happen and just go, oh, that's it. That's what I can't do anything about it. Yeah, you can, right? If you're falling down a lot, okay, what's going wrong here?
right.
Look at it.
Yeah,
Don't
you
push it
really
off
got
to
to
the
look at
side.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of goes back to like, got to be honest with yourself. You really got to fucking be honest. Like, you really, especially now, because there's so many people who are willing to, like, and I guess I'm just talking specifically about like healthcare people. If you're not being really honest with yourself, you might get put on some prescription things that you're not supposed to be on. Or if you're not really honest with yourself, you could end up being in a relationship with somebody that you don't really love, working at a place that you don't want to fucking work at. And like
Right?
then because I live a great life. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I've pretty much made it to where if something goes wrong in my life, it's my fault. But not everybody has that luxury for whatever reason. And man, some people have to work jobs that they hate. And
Right.
but you really, if you don't have to be with somebody that you don't love, and you don't have to be putting yourself in situations where you know, where your health is in someone else's hands, you know?
Right.
As
Right.
long as you're being honest with yourself. And man, it's I don't know if it's just the culture now, but it seems like it's just so the lines are so blurred with who asks for help, why they ask for help, when they ask for help, who's there to help them when they do.
Right.
That's another I mean, shit. What a great way to go right back to your channel having 100 subscribers because people that come to someone like you and, you know, thankfully you're not the only one, but they're not gonna get a bunch of bullshit, you know,
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
at the
it's
very
given.
least yeah, yeah, you're they it's like and it's like people like you are, what other humans need just to be like, "Alright," like, to hit that reset button on the old brain and,
Right.
like, just see a different just something
Yeah.
else, you know?
It's like David Goggins. I got into David Goggins. I know you because I know you've
Oh, yeah,
mentioned David
he's
Goggins
fucking
before.
pretty intense.
That guy is fucking straight up, mate. Right? You're
Yeah.
not. He's not. He ain't. There's no piss balling about with David Goggins. Right? And and you know sometimes because I've had clients where sometimes I've talked like that. Right? Because you get to know them a little bit and they need someone to just go like that a little bit. Right?
Yeah,
And I've like straight up gone like, where are we right now? What are we doing? What's got if you don't, and I've gone into this like, you don't do the work, you ain't moving forward. So what do you want
yeah.
to do? And it's very sometimes I've had it done to me, right? Where it's like you might want to look at this, and it's like shit. And then you because you don't really see it sometimes, and then you start looking at it, you're like, oh, I don't like that, right?
Well,
You're
and a
like,
lot of times people are just they surround themselves with people who are willing to either not be honest with them or who are lying to themselves too. And like
right,
it's so weird. And like I can look back when I was drinking and even after it for the first couple years when my brain was trying to get back to normal, like I didn't look at myself how like from the outside in. And there are times now that I definitely don't still, but it's like so much it's like an every minute thing where I'm kind of trying to just always see myself how other people see me, you know?
right,
And
right.
I think that that's really good for society, at least for somebody like me, because I'm so reactive that if I can have something else going on in my head, especially in weird situations, whether it be someone fucking cuts me off like they do every fucking day,
Yeah,
or whether I'm like self-conscious at the gym or something, being able to kind of like introspectively look around and then look at yourself and just be like, all right, like
right, right,
everybody's in their own thing. But yeah,
right,
that's a skill that not everybody has for sure.
right. The ego, dude. The ego's always trying to be protected, right? It's we all have it, right? And it depends on what triggers come up. But the ego's always, like me, with the fear thing. There's an ego that comes up. It's like, oh, don't say you fear because that's not your dad. That
Mhm.
he fought the war and da 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 da. So the ego comes in. It's like, but it's going like, what do I do with this? Because there's something going on, right? So the ego can get in the way with a lot of it. It really
Yeah.
can because it's trying to prove something. It's trying to prove something that maybe you had missing, right? Somewhere, some emotion that you're not connected with, or something that was missing in childhood, or something. And the ego is trying to. It can either try and make it loud because you do something and you want to be praised for it, where you wasn't praised as a kid, right? Or it could go the other way to where you may fear some of those what you it's called the weak emotions, right? You want to
Mhm.
cry or something like that, and the ego goes, "No, don't do that," and you're fucking swallowing your ass off trying to stop the tears, but it's the ego. The ego don't want to show it. It's like, oh no, don't show that. Don't. That's weak, right? Instead of just freaking like, okay, I've got this emotion going on, and this is what's happening. just accepting it and moving with it. It's when we fight it, we don't look. So it's okay. What's this emotion? What's going? Why is it there? Right? It's not just there for no reason. You don't fucking wake up angry, right? Something's happened. It could have been the night before. It could have been anywhere, right? It's actually a punishment we give ourselves for someone else's balls ups, anger, right? We punish ourselves for someone else, right? So yeah, dude, it's fucking looking. It's looking at ourselves, accepting the emotion that's there, and not pushing it away and asking the why. Yeah,
Yeah.
and finding out what that bit is, and then follow it from there. What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I angry all of a sudden? What the fuck is it? Was there a trigger? Did someone say something? Was I in a? You got to constantly keep on, all while you're asking the questions and not just going, oh, that's why it is what it is, right? All the while you're asking the questions, you're into the subconscious mind. And all the while you're into the subconscious mind, which is that driving piece of the computer, the biggest part, and asking the questions, you're keeping yourself on a forward motion. You're not standing there going, well, and just keeping fucking wrapped up in all that shit and just being like, well, it is what it is. No, it ain't. It is what it is. It's what is it?
Yeah. Yeah. What is it, dude? What the fuck's wrong?
Right,
And
right, right,
if you really can't figure it out, but you are in the mindset to say that you can't figure it out, you can figure it out. You figured out that you can't figure it out,
right,
you know? So like
right.
you just gotta fight it. You gotta fucking fight it. Grom
It's
said that David Goggins is a machine, but I think he's only run from his own demons. And I think it's true because you can't be like he is all the time. It's either an act or he's fucking got something
right.
going on, you know?
But you know what? I could say that about myself,
Same with
right?
me, because all I
It,
do is three fucking things. All David Goggins does is four fucking things. It's like, but I feel like it's like me in weed and me in alcohol. People, most people would say that I'm not sober. I would say I am because of the like massive harm reduction that my life took from drinking cam to only smoking weed cam. And
right,
I feel like where I do agree with Grom, I feel like whatever demons he's running from, like if this is how he's choosing to handle it, and it's that bad where he's that guy,
right.
maybe push up man is the way to be for him. But I do agree 100%. Like I feel like it's either an act or
Yeah.
he's probably seen some shit. I've got
Oh,
to
he's. I've
imagine.
watched a bunch. I've watched a bunch of interviews with a guy. Ex SEAL, I think he is, or
Yeah.
something. And the guy. There's no joke with the guy. I mean, he's been through a lot of shit that he's trained his mind.
Mhm.
To think in a different way. There is no doubt about it. But shit, man. Dude, I've got to piss like a racehorse. Will you be able to?
Well, we went to 2 hours. I don't know. What do you
Okay.
wanna do? You
Yeah,
wanna
I've got
call
to.
it?
Yeah, I've got to pee like a freaking machine, dude.
Well, I don't know. It was a great live, dude. Give me an air high five.
Yeah, dude.
it
Absolutely. Pleasure, dude. Absolute freaking pleasure.
was all
Really,
mine, Scoocha.
it's freaking awesome talking to you. It always is. We get into
Thanks
conversations.
everybody who showed up.
Yes, thank you,
Don't forget
thank
to
you, thank you. I
subscribe to his
appreciate you.
channel.
And go and freaking check each other out, and you, dude, and check your channel out, and anybody in there that don't know each other, start
Yeah,
freaking signing up with each other because
yeah,
great
dude.
group.
All right,
All right,
I'll
brother.
talk to you soon.
All right, man. Love you, man. Take it easy.
Bye, Bill. Love you too,
Bye,
bud.
man.